Mr. Chairman and committee members, my name is John Specia. I'm a retired commissioner of the Department of Family and Protective Services. I'm a retired district court judge that heard CPS cases, currently practicing law in San Antonio and consulting with some nonprofits. I am testifying today as a private citizen, and I support House Bill 6. I support House Bill 6, and I support the continued rollout of foster care redesign. Community-based foster care offers the best option for the state of Texas to address the special needs of children who are abused, neglected, and exploited. The current system is not structurally designed to focus on keeping a child close to home, family, schools, and friends. It's not the caseworker's fault. They do the best job they can do, but the structure works against them. Making case management services part of the redesign contract will allow the SSCC to work with families and children. In addition, it will allow the SSCC to coordinate care, working with CASA, courts, and advocates to maximize the opportunity for each child to exit foster care to a permanent forever home. Community-based foster care must be carefully planned and implemented. It should be rolled out on an aggressive time frame, but with care to do it right, and learning lessons from the previous SSCCs. This is not a Kansas model. It is not a Nebraska model. It is not a Florida model. It is a Texas model, taking into consideration all of the issues raised and the successes of all those various models. Clear performance measures and accurate data collection are essential to the success. So the IT costs are going to be there for the rollout of foster care redesign and future SSCCs, but that's the very data that will tell us whether or not this is working, and it is working for the best interest of the children. I like the community engagement oversight group. It is important to have the community buy-in and assistance in implementation. The communities do kind of look right now, this is a state problem, not a community problem. But when you have community-based care and you have a community engagement oversight group, you will bring the community and the community's resources into providing the best possible care for our children. There is a provision, and I know it may not stay, to pay daycare services to foster parents. It's a good provision. It will expand the pool of families willing to foster, and it will provide much needed relief to foster parents who provide 24/7 care. The restriction.
Hold on just a second, Mr. Frank.
Not to interrupt you, but I will work very diligently to try to make sure that's there. I just didn't want to get it convoluted, and it may well stay. But
we'll be able to get foster parents, because saying that if someone doesn't have a 40-hour-a-week job, they're not entitled to foster care, they'll never get a break. Daycare. And providing additional daycare services is good for safety, it's good for the kids, and it's good to keep and retain good foster parents. So I'm in favor of that. The state of Texas has more than 7 million children. It is the most geographically and culturally diverse state in the nation. One size does not fit all in Texas. Foster care must be provided in each community and designed understanding that specific community's strengths and weaknesses, and build a system based for that community. This will ensure safety, permanency, and well-being for each child will be achieved. I'm open for any questions.
Mr. Wu? Yes, go ahead, Judge.
I just have one comment. I've worked with a lot of district and county attorneys over the years. There is a battle legally between who the district attorney represents in civil cases, but I know almost zero county or district attorneys that are willing to say they do not have prosecutorial discretion. They're just not going to blindly take cases to court that they don't agree with. They will either disagree with and negotiate, or they will refuse to take the case and turn it back to the department lawyer to handle the case. But they're not going to just blindly follow the directions of any SSCC or any caseworker. They object all the time. So the state is represented by the county or district attorney, and that's where they see their role is. That's the oath they take.
Ms. Frank? Ms. Swanson?
I have a question for you as far as This daycare, I totally agree with you on that. What age would that go through?
That's not specific in the bill, but I was thinking for younger children. I mean, that's something that's going to have to be, and I don't know how the fiscal note was built on what age it goes to. But some of our kids are very high needs, and if a foster parent needs a break, it needs to eat, and they can get it through daycare, give them the daycare. If they need respite care because they're dealing with very, very high needs children, give them respite care. I think we lose more foster parents by not providing them the supports they need, not providing the wraparound services to deal with behavioral health issues related to the children. I never fail to thank a foster parent who appeared in my court. They are incredible people that deal with children that have been abused, neglected, are traumatized, and are just real hard to deal with.
Okay, my comment would be to not forget the older children.
I agree.
Many of those teens are not allowed, and they're to be left alone. They're of the age that they should be able to babysit other kids, but no, they still need to be babysat.
Absolutely.
And there's just not enough support like that. If you don't have enough family support around, it's very complicated and takes time to line up respite care. And if you have, your friends, how do you tell them you need a babysitter for your 16 or 17-year-old who you don't trust to leave at home?
We could jump in, Mr. Frank.
The bill as written is preschool, basically before school age. It's something we can look at. Yeah, but I was just letting you know how the bill is currently
Okay.
written. It's preschool.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, so what would be the proper way to look into providing more things for, what does the foster parent of the teenager do?
Really, I mean, we'll just turn on I guess the appropriate way, we'll talk offline and figure
Okay.
out what, how many kids that we're talking about, what, everything comes down to cost benefit. In a perfect world, right, we give everything everywhere.
Okay.
But that's not where we are.
Okay, thank you.
Man, I thought you were supposed to be more conservative than Debbie. Do you want to spend more money? That's okay.
I just have concerns about, everybody wonders why we can't recruit people to be foster parents of older kids, because there's not support.
Yeah, I hear you. We appreciate you. Any other questions for the judge? Oh, hold on a second. Any other questions for a judge? No? Okay. Do you want to?
Before we get him,
Hold on. Ms. Rose has a question.
If Representative Franks will let us just ask questions, chill. We gonna let you give your response. But I just have a question, and I think the judge will be able to answer this. I'm looking at some information that was dropped off in my office with some people who were concerned about this particular bill. And there was a pilot program called the Intense Permanency Initiative. Are you familiar with that? Was that before your time?
Not right off the top of my head. No, I'm not familiar with that.
It was a pilot program over in San Antonio and Bexar County with the Casey Family Foundation in Harris and Bexar County.
I actually was the judge involved with the Casey Family Program. Keep talking. I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's coming.
Okay. Well, yeah, it was the Casey Family Foundation in Harris and Bexar counties to serve foster children who had high-level needs and frequent placement breakdowns. The pilot, called the Intense Permanency Initiative, created by CPS units with a maximum of 8 cases per worker. You still not?
I've heard about the program. I'll answer it if I can, or I'll say I'll get back to you.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was just going to ask you, do you feel like that was a successful program?
I don't know. My guess is with a low caseload like that, it was probably a successful program. But and I remember hearing about that program. Anytime you can get caseloads to a very reasonable level, particularly with high needs kids, you're going to get better outcomes. Particularly with teenagers, I think one of our greatest problems is treating them as all the other kids and not having specialized caseloads for teenagers. Any child that's been in care 2 years or as a teenager had been in care 2 years needs to have intensive casework and needs to be really worked on to get them out of the system.
Also, being a former judge, do you have any concerns about the accountability as far as, with DFPS not actually representing the children?
The vast majority of cases are agreed to by all the parties in court. And that's how most of the cases go. The district attorney, the ad litems, the parents' attorneys all agree on what the outcome is going to be. There will be a small number of cases, I believe, that you might have a conflict. The state of Texas is the managing conservator, and the state of Texas may need to step in and say yes or no on a very small number of cases. So because of that, I'm not concerned about accountability. Accountability is also a training issue. The vast majority of people that work for the CPAs used to work for the department. We train every social worker in the state of Texas, I said when I was commissioner. They don't change from being pro-family or by moving to a CPA. The CPAs are focused on the best interest of the children. They're being innovative. They're being creative. They absolutely have to recognize that the first choice is always the child goes home. And if the child can't go home, then the child needs to go to relatives. And only as a last resort do you turn to non-family adoptions.
But I'm talking about more accountability. So just say, for instance, if a child is, if we were to go with this program, and a child is placed in a home, as far as a judge, right now, currently, the CPS caseworkers are responsible for, visiting placements and making sure
Right.
the placements are appropriate. So you don't have any concerns about the accountability of that as it relates to...
You still are going to have the licensing overview. All these homes are still going to have to be licensed by the department and comply with minimum standards. They're still going to have to come to court every 4 months on these cases, and they're going to have to report to the court. It will be a private, nonprofit person doing that versus a public caseworker. Scott believes it has to be a public caseworker. I don't believe that it has to be a public caseworker. With proper training, a person working for a CPA, working for the SSCC can do the same thing and make valid recommendations. You got to have checks and balances.
Even for court-ordered services from the judge?
When the court will enter a court order and a plan of service, and it will say you have to do this, this, and this. The SSCC will be as accountable as the state for doing those things. And when they come back to court, they're going to have to account to the court for having made sure all those things were done in the plan of service.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.